burst, which you should, throw a burst, see what happened. Nothing, throw another burst, and then move on. But you wouldn't pull the trigger back until you emptied it because you only got 15, 16 seconds. You're out.
Yeah.
You're gone. But if you do it in bursts, you got about 5 or 6 shots. That's not much, but when you stop to think, one shot could do a lot of damage.
Yeah. How many people could you engulf in flames?
Tell. Because they're all in a cave, you don't know. You hear a lot of yelling. They yell all the time. They try and scare you with yelling. They scream and yell at you when they come at you. So you know, it all sounds the same, you know. I don't know what the engineers found, whether they were all burned up or not, we don't know. But you have to move. You can't stand there. You move.
Don, let's talk about some foxhole stories.
The foxhole stories?
So I heard that we have a very similar saying, no atheists are in foxholes.
That's right.
Can you describe that?
If a person, we've had kids, and I think every war has them. We've had kids say, I'm looking out for myself. If I get killed, it's my fault. That's the end of it. Some of them will say, I'm going to hope God will help me get through this battle. No atheists in foxholes, though. I've seen them yell and scream and help. Oh, God, help me. I've heard it time and time again. And they won't tell you, but they'll pray. You can see they're praying, but they would never tell you. And you don't bother them. When you know a man might be praying, you leave him alone. You never say a thing to him. You don't question him. But that started on Guadalcanal. No atheists in foxholes.
Really?
And it spread to other battles.
I used that expression several times in battle.
What's that?
I said I've used that expression several times in battle. But you made a deal with God on that island.
I made a deal with God. I made a pledge. I broke the pledge. But God understood the whole situation. When I hit the beach, I was terrified. I had my face right down on the sand. I was so scared. Everything. The screaming and the yelling. I just said, Lord, I don't know much about you at all. I know you exist. I know you are. And if you could help me and get me out of this, I don't know, serve you the rest of my life. And I got a hunch there were a lot of kids on that beach praying too. Where else would you go? What would you do? Well, to make it real short, he got me off that island in 6 weeks. He never really got me until 9 years later. That was 9 years after the war. I had something happen to me that I felt so ashamed. We were on the north end. We had about 2 weeks to go. They finally pulled a big bonsai on us. And it's funny. In the daytime, you don't see anything. You don't see anything at all. At 2 o'clock in the morning, that's when it happened. When you can't, you're fighting sleep, and that's when they start blowing horns and bells. They're all screaming and yelling. They're coming at you, and you do your best. You want to make every shot count, and yes, a few of us would get it, but we would just kill them, knock them all down, lay them down. Well, what happened? We stayed in that hole that night, and the next morning. There were 3 of us. We made it, got through it. And I got word that I was to be looking for snipers. So I got up and I took my glasses on the ground like my elbows, and I'm looking around. I couldn't see a thing. It was all quiet. Couldn't spot a thing. I was there about 15 minutes, and I dived back down. And I said, there's nothing going on out there. So I phoned in, and I told them, no snipers. They said, keep looking, because they know where we're at. They're shooting us back up here. I said, 10-4. By the way, he said, you've got a kid coming for your replacement. I said, we can use him. And so finally, the kid yelled over the hole, who's Graves? And I said, I am. Come on in here. And he jumped in the hole. And he said, what do you want me to do? And I said, sit down over there. You have a lot to do later on tonight. I said, well, I got to be looking. And he said, Graves, give me the glasses. I'll look. I said, no, you get yourself killed. One of my buddies says, give him your glasses. That's what he's here for. I threw the glasses at him. He got up, and we're shooting the breeze. He's up there looking. Then all of a sudden, pew, he fell back. His helmet rolled off between my feet. When it stopped, I looked down in the helmet. I was shocked. All three of us, we were just stunned. We didn't expect that. That sniper thought that was me. He was ready for me. And there was a beautiful girl sitting in a chair, and on her lap was a baby. I lost it. I got up and screamed and yelled and shook my fist in the air and said, curse Iwo Jima, curse God for letting that kid take my place. See, I didn't understand. And yet days before I was praying for help. Well, we phoned in and told them what happened. We got into another hole. And same story until the end, and all of a sudden nothing was happening. They were down there by the water, and it was either come at us and die or go in the water and be shot in the water. Either way. We don't know what happened, but we were released by the 3rd Division. 18 of us walked down to the cemetery.
All right, Don, so we're going to start to wrap up your time in Iwo Jima. And I just got a couple of stories that I heard you talk about last night at dinner that I'd like to expound upon. But let's talk about making hot chocolate in foxholes.
Hot chocolate. Everybody, if I'm speaking eventually, someone's going to say, Don, do you have any interesting stories? And some say, tell the hot chocolate. I don't like the hot chocolate, but I'll do it. We're sitting, waiting, nothing happening all day. I said, I feel like hot chocolate. And the other two guys says, well, make enough for 3 of us. So we have ration bar, chocolate bars when they drop off rations, you know. And we dice up that D bar. Did you ever see one? A D bar?
I haven't.
It was a combat bar, bittersweet. And I chopped it all up, we got our canteen water in there. I made a pretty good batch. I lit some demolition underneath, beautiful, nice blue fire. And we sat and shot in the breeze, watching, keeping our eyes open, looking around. And all of a sudden, you could smell it. It smelled good. Then all of a sudden, I heard a voice, hey, Marine, very good chocolatto. You bring chocolatto here. I said, if you want chocolate, you come and get it. Oh, no, you bring here.
Did they come and get some? Then the
guys down the line be laughing. Then they'd say, well, send it down to us. To heck with him. I'd get your own darn chocolate bar out.
Don, how long did it take you to fill up or to heat up a glass of hot chocolate being a flamethrower?
It took about 20 minutes to a half hour.
Okay. All right. So we're getting close towards the end of the battle here. And there is a famous photograph of some Marines lifting a flag up on Iwo Jima.
Yeah.
Can you go into that a little bit?
That flag going up That was never in the program. That was never planned out. Not as far as we were concerned on the Anna. We didn't know about putting the flag up. It just was never discussed. What happened was my battalion commander, Chandler Johnson, aboard ship on a transport going to Saipan from Hawaii, he stayed up with the skipper of the ship. And when we were getting ready to embark, why, he said, Colonel, he said, take this flag, he said, and see if you can get someone to put it up for me. I'd like to see that flag go up, wherever you can put it up. And so Johnson said, okay, I'll do that. I liked my battalion commander. He knew me real well. We got along real good. He put me in the brig 3 times.
Sounds like a hell of a guy.
Insubordination, I came in late from Liberty. Well, anyway, he gave that to Harold Schreier, Lieutenant Schreier, that led the patrol up. He just gathered some guys together, and when they got up there, they shot a few Japanese up. They had a little skirmish up there, but they beat them. And then it's like I said last night, that was drain pipe that flag was put on. People don't know that. We had no pole for a flag. We didn't know anything about a flag going up on the mountain. So they found this drain pipe and they put it together. And the Japanese used it to get rainwater down in the cave below because they couldn't remake their water. They couldn't purify it like we did. We purified our water, so we always had plenty of it. Didn't taste too good, but it was pure. And so they got the flag all rigged up, and we're through fighting, so we're walking right to the top. And when we get up to the crest and stand there, from here to that wall, there it goes up. Man, it was a shock. And everybody saw that flag go up out in the bay. All those ships out there let go in the air with tracers and rockets. And our boys that were on the north fighting with the airstrip while we're doing Suribachi, they started opening up with tracers. It was just like a spectacle. It infuriated the Japanese. They fought twice as hard. We put our flag on Japanese soil for the first time in history. Yep.
How far were you from that flag?
Well, from here, that picture on the wall.
About 20 feet?
What? Yeah.
10, 20 feet?
About 20 feet, yeah.
That's incredible. What did that feel like watching that?
Some say just within a few feet. They always do that. They exaggerate.
Yeah.
No, I'd say about that distance right there.
What was the conversation like as the flag was going up?
Nothing, quiet.
Dead silence.
They just backed off like this. Well, if you've seen the picture, you'll see when they raise it, well, they're going like this. But it was a shock to all of us. But boy, when it went up and waved, oh gosh, it was a glorious looking sight. It was.